talking about the Uranus and Gemini effect, and it has to do with freedom of talk, freedom of expression, freedom of the people, really. It's about looking into people more, the kind of people we are, especially that Uranus trines Pluto in Aquarius, which is all about the people. We're looking right into people as friends, people as enemy, people. There's a relationship that we're having. Yeah, you're going to see more. If they don't talk about it more, then there's just going to be noticeable clashing about it, and it's best to know what's clashing, and it's because that there's two different types here on the plane. Okay, so there's people that are mind-oriented, which means that they're fear-oriented, and then there are people that are heart-oriented, human. See, it's the non-human against the human again. There I go again. I seem to not be able to get off of the subject matter. Bear with me. But it's a big bear with all of humanity as they wake up to it's just the same as saying, well, one of the most clever things that the devil has done, not human, is convince everybody that it doesn't exist or that God doesn't exist. But really it's that it doesn't exist. So it's just one huge, yeah, right. I say that there's two types, and after a while, one is struggling to make it because they're outnumbered against the other type, which is not so intelligent. It's not so awakened. It's not so human. That's for sure. If you agree, please send a donation to one of the leaders of the pack here. I am perfectly human, in other words. Aries, and I've been picked upon. I get picked upon pretty good. I don't mind it. I haven't mounded it. What's the past tenses of mind? Like minded? I've always been picked on though. See, it was from the beginning of my very birth on to now. Big deal, The thing that I noticed that has protected me, of course, nobody would ever straight up say, you need to protect yourself against the non-human. Or what is it? When you go to work for money and you start minding your own business that way. See, I've always had a job. I've always made money doing something. Luckily, up here where I live, up here in a mountain community, I've managed to get in like Flynn. And it's been through word of mouth, to tell you the truth. Yeah, my grandma gave me my first job where she worked, and that was really fun. I was able to open up a savings account there, but eventually I would quit. See, that was when I was 16, finishing off private schooling, getting a GED that way, doing pretty much my own subject matter, which was chaos. Hi, how are you? It's me again, reality. Anyway, no, I like working. I love showing off my ability to learn and then catch on, and then the skill of showing up and being there and actually being useful, being counted upon. Of course, I miss that. I kind of miss that. It's been just up until recently. Well, the last 5 years has been tough, right? That we haven't been able to show up for each other. Maybe, I don't know. Some people didn't want you to show up for them. I don't know. It's just a big split happening. Have you noticed? Let's get back to the Gemini Uranus feel. The Uranus in Gemini is going to make us see that in fact there's two different types here on this plane. Because, well, not because, but if you notice, Gemini, the symbol of it is two, the twins. And it's really pointing at that dualistic reality. Those people, the Geminis, are very dualistic. They have it right inside of them. I would dare say that they're struggling with the mind, that's what the whole problem is, versus what? I don't think that the Gemini has it very easy in getting past the mind. They don't like Buddhism, for that matter, which is just a conversation about the mind. I don't know. They might know more about it than they'll ever be bothered to talk about it. It just depends if where the other planets are. See, you're not just your sun sign, you're not just your rising sign, you're not just your moon sign, but it's pretty guaranteed that the personalities of the zodiacal signs sticks out. If you have a planet there, you can bet that it's going to start expressing under that essence. Anyway, thanks for listening. Uranus and Gemini means freedom of speech. Did I already talk about that? It's going to be a huge thing that could start a lot of things and it could stop a lot of things. See, you're not even going to validate that there is any kind of thing happening in reality without having communicated it. You need to communicate it. Otherwise, we're in the Stone Ages all the time. In fact, we haven't even come up into becoming a conscious civilization. There is no awareness. See, it needs to start communicating. And the movement has already been here for communications to become something that we can use. I'm telling you, it's funny, you know, when we start to poke at it, because it's poking at comprehension, like perception, like uh, reality itself, like good scientists, you know, really good science, to talk about that there is real science, and it's based, just bottom line, it's based in that the truth is here and that there is a non-diluted, non-filtered look into it. Look, somebody's eyeballs. We don't say, see, we have a problem with like not very many scientists, and then on top of that, I mean, not very many real scientists that are sticking themselves out and say, no, like this. There are, but they're all killed. Can I make you this clear? How many people have been killed since the 5 years ago, where people were holding up cures for a lot of things, and they're killed? All right, Jesus, was that you? Girl, you're sure tapping on, I am. Yeah, you're tapping some subject matter. You better be careful. All right, be careful. Anyway, let me get my coin. Somebody had to give me 50 cents at the clerk, you know, at the cash register, and they said, and you get the lucky number Kennedy coin of the 50-cent piece. Anyway, not a big deal, but I do have a lot of 50-cent pieces that are silver. Anyway, I hate to get off the subject matter. But really, that's the danger I imagine with the Uranus and Gemini. It's already that muddled up communications, why we even do it. There isn't any use for it unless we're celebrating the truth there in reality. All right, now, unfortunately, it can happen that deception takes it over and starts trying to convince us that, first of all, there is no reality, and second of all, there is no deceiver. And so now what? I mean, if you ask me, we are in a time where it's like, well, something knows of that duality, and has absolutely fooled everybody, and that makes them the Lord, the Lord over, let's just say. Yeah, watch out for that word. Watch out for a lot of me that's going to start picking on the words. You know, the word Lord is in the word world. If we were to apply the hidden but soon to be known R reversal rule. There's a reverse rule that the R begins to point at if you want to get into clubbing down the non-human occupation that doesn't really communicate. It just kind of regurgitates. Yeah, that's the problem that you have with your non-human and or narcissist. They don't really have a conversation. There's a lot of hidden agenda behind it, or it's a complete blackout. You know, these are your classic boring people. That it's like, ah, you know, they'll do the same thing to you, and it's like, no, actually, you don't do that to people when you're interacting, and like maybe you do call them your boyfriend or girlfriend, and now they're rolling their eyes and yawning. They can't help it. And it's like, you know what? This is the subject matter that needs to come up more and more. Do you know? Gemini will talk about it too. If it's a healthy Gemini, they're very psychological. They're very magical that way. They're going to solve relational problems through communications and looking into it and really labeling things and saying, this is the mechanics here and this is what's operating there and there's the ingredients to this here and there. They really get into all of that labeling, and there we have a library full of stuff thanks to Gemini. Communications, it rules which way did we communicate to get the message across. It's very magical that way. It's like very mystical. It's the air. It rules the air. It's that symbol of the Gemini, which is the parallel bars, is talking about the duality there. It's the two different types, and it's not to say that there isn't the upper and lower, the ground and the sky, in which it's all happening within there. And that's the stage, that's the movie set, you know, and action. So here we go. What's going to start to clarify itself over the next 7 years, very vital. It must come through a language, not just language, babes. You are getting nowhere, especially when if you haven't altered your perception to the real meanings, the words inside the words. I call them birds in words, because the word vowel in and of itself, you can see the word owl in it. It's not because, but that's just a fact. Why? Well, owls are special and so are vowels. There's a symbol of the owl in the White House. They do harbor that. I don't know if you know that, but roses and owls, I mean, look out for that. Anyway, what I know about the decoding system, which is an aid to, it's it's a default, a reset to the interfacing system sent from benevolent beings who live in outer space, which is the English alphabet, where you have a language that comes out of it that most everybody on the globe knows, and they had to learn it somehow, some way. That was just the required learning for a profound reason. It's because of that what's locked and hidden inside of it, even the language that you see that's being quite frank, if you know who Frank is. No, it's being quite upfront about everything, the possibility that there is a God and the deceiver. It's all right there. See, that's the game that you're playing through this language. Now, yeah, it's best to go towards the light and that which is the truth, which is God. Because you don't have to remember anything then. It's the memory. You are the memory. It is remembering you. You are remembering it. Have you gotten away from all the people telling you no from the very get-go? Because that's certainly not the way that you turn yourself on and begin to remember. Now, the word re, right? I told you about the R reverse rule is in that word remember. See the word, you take it apart, babes. These are you are dealing with words that I'm sorry, but this is a very popular subject matter because, and you don't even know it. You're using a typewriter every day. Most likely, you're doing the hideous texting, the short wording there, which you really shouldn't. Especially if you are a shepherd or somebody who's going to teach somebody the three spectrums, make sure you text to them finding birds and words and start showing them certain things in there. There is only so much time here. Interaction you should cherish like a sacred ground that you have just opened your eyes to a whole new world that now when we communicate, what do we have in common? Here, if you're watching this, babes, we have reality in common. Reality is what? Say it, kids! Outer space! Thank you, you've been listening. See, there's so many words to say what these things are, and the closer you get to the actual experience, the better that your communications will be. Now, there's many, many ways to say one single thing. See, this talk about talk, I'm on it. I'm on it like Boop on it, baby. Fucking Uranus is going into Gemini just today. It's at 0 degrees. It went in yesterday, and it's like 24 hours. We're just barely heading into Gemini, and some people are noticing the call. It will be to start listening to language and so to start deciphering and going into the scape of it, the mindscape that could possibly be there. That is, oh boy, is it going to be a huge subject matter. And what's going to save the day is people that know how to talk about talk. People that know how to, it's Buddhism, by the way. That's what Buddhism is. If anybody wants to know what Buddhism is, it's just a conversation between these two very different people. They don't even touch each other when you see it in the Gemini symbolism. What's connecting them is the ground they walk on, and then they have a sky there. That's what that top and bottom, and then there's the two in the middle, but they are still standing parallel, and there's nothing else joining them in the middle. They're just there, and like I said, for sure, did you notice the Earth? And did you open an account with the sky there, which is embracing and containing all things? That's your third-party witness. You know, that's the one where, you know, you can ask your narcissist if they tell you that they have jury duty and you don't believe them because really they don't want to take you on a date that day or something like that. Just tell them to take a selfie at the damn courthouse, right? And because why? Well, because that's the third party witness. You have a third party witness there whenever. Well, your camera is always filming, but when you give it permission to give you permission to allow it to go into your mind that it's finally recording something, which is your buttons and stuff, the illusion of your freedom of that, you know, it's kind of, when do you check in and out of reality? Well, is when you have your camera going, or are you definitely, are you getting into the Photoshop, baby? Because you just don't like the clutter behind you, you know? It's boring, probably. Well, hey, thanks for listening to this, minute 20, and like I said, I made a video before this where the sound was terrible, but I'm going to post it anyway because I think that if you go into the comfort of your own home, maybe it's before you go to bed, you can get it really quiet. You can stuff the earphones in your ear and listen to where I go with any of it. Some of it is, it just, you know, it's like, I don't know. I don't like people like that. The people that talk about nothing, right? They're non-self-reflective. The non-self-reflectives talk. right? That the people don't even realize. It's like, babes, can you allow some air in between us and an actual experience that we should have together? You know, all that a narcissist is doing when they're overloading on talk, when you first meet them, see that they'll do this, and I'm talking about it because you love the subject matter. They will do this. No, you'll notice is that it's a red flag when they don't know how to listen very well and they're talking way too much. Okay, now there's not all people that communicate in high volumes are narcissists, but not all narcissists are even communicating, right? That's what I was saying. You'll notice that they're not interacting with you; they're interacting with their ego. You know, they'll kind of look over at you and they're talking to somebody else, and they're really they're thinking that that you're getting you're interacting, and they are, but it's an ego there. They want you to believe something about themselves other than what they're presenting right now. Could be just the first few minutes that you ever met that person at the coffee shop. But see, that's what you get for going to the coffee shop, okay? Especially Starbucks, is that you are actually going there to run into a narcissist 100%. Yeah. Otherwise, you're making your own good coffee in the comfort of your own home, and you're trying to stay away from these people that are egos, and you can get lost in them, right? They are there to find a place to hide in your ego. They are looking for a hiding place. It's darkness that wants to stay dark by playing hide and seek, kind of a thing. And oh, you're not involved with it. I admit I don't drink coffee, so you will not find me at the coffee shop like that. I might be there playing the guitar one of these days and doing something kind of out of the ordinary for them to look over and go, what the hell? And then maybe get a tip or two because I need money. Good God, this I know. I was trying to start this video about saying that too bad it just doesn't seem like money protects us anymore, because when we go out there and we have to make it, you're most likely exposing yourself to somebody who has enough to give it. So that's a narcissist right there. I was just about to say, you know, the reason why I'm so broke and everything is because I'm not psycho enough to, I'm not like a moral masochist enough to, I just cannot find it in me to fragmentize myself enough. It doesn't seem interesting to me. I wish me luck. I'm claiming to be a homebody. I claim to be holding ashram in a certain way, which is like, I would love to get out of the neighborhood that I'm in, even though I have a beautiful piece of land. It's just changed, and it's not worth it to be around people that they're in a fucking stronghold. I was trying to talk about just, you know, these upcoming times that are going to expose more and more. You know, we can be it could be rounded down to a main theme, the fact that yes, there are only two types of people here. Some people are human beings, other ones are not. The human beings are the ones who are achieved in love, as love. They are consciously aware. Well, they know a lot about everything. They know a little about everything, but they can know a lot about it. You know, they just have a level head. I mean, really, if things start getting really gnarly, here's my cat, and this is the cue for me to get going. I really was waiting for her to come around so I could. I have to go to the post office, but I was waiting for her to show back up, and now I'm gonna lock her in the door and get over to the post office. I'm downgrading my PO box. I've kept it. We've had it since the 40s, I guess. And at first it was PO Box W, and we love being able to say our address is POW, you know. And so that's part of the reason why I kept it, but then it was like 10 years ago that they switched it to a number to 1136, and that configuration adds up to 11, which is a trip because I'm an 11 in numerology, and so I kept it because of that. It's a drawer. It's a big drawer where you can like set magazines and pieces of paper in flat, and I'm paying too much per year for it, and so I'm going to go attempt to downgrade and get a small box, which I've had one of those before when I was renting homes up here separate from that mailbox, and so yeah, I'm going to see what it takes to do that. Like, I guess through the system, and they were trying to. Sorry for going off the subject matter, but anyway, you get the clue about. Um,
Hi, did you want some food, my little baby? I'm getting some food.
Sorry, you get what I'm trying to say about Gemini. In the Uranus in Gemini, it's a very exciting time. We have been having to learn about reducing ourselves down to the level of the earth, which is great. I love it. That's when Uranus was in Taurus, and it was really tough to get the lesson there. A lot of people didn't, and this is what's not good, is because of the unevolved part of man, I guess you could say. There's this sloppy language that we use, which I don't know. I think that we are onto something when we say mankind, and we never hear anything about womankind. It's like, okay, are you enjoying your ever expanding deserts and impoverished souls spilling out onto the streets? Because that's what you get for ignoring. I don't want to say the woman side, but it's the feminine side. And see, the man needs to get into their more feminine side. If we're talking, I mean, if there's two, Gemini does have the symbology of it rules relationships, the man and the woman. It really does. Even though it talks about the twins, some people can be twins and they're boy and girl. But anyway, but see, yeah, it rules getting out this, starting to hit done. Gemini rules relationships, and then it starts to enhance when it starts to trine Libra, which Libra rules love. It rules a self-organizing conscious mind, which knows how to harmonize big time. It's just known to be a harmonizer. I wouldn't even say that it's human. See, it's the only zodiacal sign that is represented by a machine, just the balance, the scales. And it does rule a self-organizing system called love, which never fails. It's going to make it work. And so then we hand it over to Aquarius, which, man, we're looking at technology, really is the higher mind of God, what we're going to be able to do just in this year alone with the new entrance of Uranus and Gemini is going to be a taste. Because, okay, it's just a taste. We're right now, okay, we're getting a taste of something, which would be the Saturn and mainly the Neptune inside of Aries, and then Uranus in Gemini. But it just so happens that Saturn is conjuncting Neptune, which is a trip. Well, all three of these planets are going to be going back into one more time. They're going to go back. See, Uranus is going to go back into Taurus. I think Uranus is going to be in August. It's not in Gemini for very long, and it goes there in August. It goes back to, I can't see anything right now without my readers. But yeah, and then in April, in 2026 is when everything goes back into these signs, major shift. That's what makes 2026 like a bitchin' year. It's just going to be great for some of us. Other of us, it's not so hot. But for all of humanity, it's going to be quite the contortion. Change isn't easy for a lot of us, and for many, many reasons. And the main thing we want is to go along the non-failing more organic ley lines of the truth that only love is able to do. Now, if you want to talk about AI and the use for it, babes, I'm looking into it for us. There's got to be a way to start communicating through our communications here. If you are paying a communications bill, then you have a right to access this game that we're involved with. It's the hottest political arena ever to hit the palm of your hand, and it's not activated yet. I keep trying to suggest this, but no, this is a real thing. Um, yeah. Anyway, I will keep trying to talk to you about it. It involves, see, first of all, not everybody's going to be wanting to get involved, but really you are, though. Why wouldn't you? See, if you use a typewriter, see again, and you are using the English alphabet, you are trying to type English, and you're using a typewriter, if you are interested in your own freedom, to create and to access all the resources that you ever need to what, Shauna? To be all that you can possibly can be, to be what you came here to be. And I'm here to speak for all the little children now with the Mercury and Leo, and we're going to keep hitting it off on this and talking about it. No, children are trying to be all they can be, but they are constantly whacked back and told no because there's a paranoia there. Somebody doesn't want to rack up a doctor bill, or they don't know how to take care of when they fall and get a scratch or anything. It's just, I see that around me that parents get very, very protective, right? Everybody knows that. You're called a helicopter and you're putting bubble wrap on them and they're wearing a helmet now, and it's like, God, man. They're not even going to know that they have a head if you keep fucking shrouding it in protective layers and they can't hit it properly. You know what I'm saying? And when it's stuck in the helmet like that, everybody knows you're getting brain damage better than when you just tap it really hard and say, ouch. Ugh. Even if a little blood is drawn, you didn't jostle your brains like what happens when you're a football player and you're just like, da, 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 da. That's the truth. So anyway, we're going to keep unfolding the subject matter of the learning child's mind, which is like, the superior way is to maintain that freedom. And a lot of people, no, you say the word freedom and they feel like the ground has fallen away from under them. They get a very insecure feeling. And we should question those people. When you say the word, oh, everybody should be able to be free. And they say, no, because they will go out and paint the town red, and they will go get their weapons and do such and such with it, and they will do such and such with the neighbor, and all, God, it'll just be bloody hell. Lock those people up. Whoever thinks freedom entails that, just lock them up. Put a little pamphlet out. What do you think it means? All hell breaks loose, or full-on intelligence gets to unfold, and we get to have all the bliss of heaven coming down to earth. If they check out all hell breaks loose, again, send them to a tank. Try to gas them up.